Hi, welcome to Secondary Review Submission Help. This video covers the different kinds of research involving secondary review of data, biospecimens, and the data associated with biospecimens. Secondary review means you are conducting research on data or biospecimens that were collected or are being collected for reasons other than supporting your research project. For instance, if your research involves using results from published research articles or using data that someone else already collected for a different study, or if you are analyzing data from school records or medical charts, this would be secondary review because these data were originally collected for another purpose. But if your research involves conducting a survey or a focus group to prospectively collect data, this is not secondary review of data. This data is being collected for your research. Other examples of secondary review could be conducting research on images from a repository, or collecting research data by looking at social media posts, or searching for news articles on a topic and then analyzing the content of these articles. All of these are secondary review. The way you submit these to the IRB depends on where the data and biospecimens come from and how you are recording the information. That's what this course will show you. There is a great tool for you in the Huron IRB library called IRB Guidance 13, Guidance on Secondary Analysis. You can find it under the General tab in the Huron IRB library. In this slide, I also show a flowchart that is designed to help you understand the content in the IRB Guidance 13 document. For this course, I will break down this flowchart into its individual parts as I explain the information in IRB Guidance 13. But be sure and look at IRB Guidance 13 if you want to study the information in more depth. Both Guidance 13 and the Guidance 13 flowchart are available under the General tab in the Huron IRB library. This part of the flowchart shows the various types of secondary review that could be reviewed as not human subjects research, or NHSR. These include public use data sets, data or biospecimens with no identifiers, and publicly available data, as long as this data is not from social media or any other source in which people don't expect it to be used in research. I will cover each of these in the next few slides. Public use data set. These are data sets and specimen repositories that are created for public use. These include many government agency databases like police crime report statistics, disease statistics from the health department, traffic information from the DOT, and medical data and biospecimen repositories like the National Human Radiobiology Tissue Repository, the website clinicaltrials.gov, the Framingham Heart Study database, and the Cancer Imaging Archive. Research from these public use sites can be reviewed as not human subjects research using the HRP 250 form for your protocol. No identifiers. Let's say you were getting data or biospecimens from a source that is not a public use data set. This could be data from a clinic's medical records, or data from another research study, or de-identified specimens left over after a tumor biopsy. As long as no one on the research team has access to identifiers or access to a code that links the data or biospecimens back to a person, then this is still considered not human subjects research and can be submitted using the HRP 250 form. The HRP 250 form will ask you where the data or biospecimens are coming from and who will de-identify them before your team receives them. For instance, if the data is coming from an electronic medical record, for it to be not human subjects research, someone else with access to the data who is not on the research team will have to extract the data, remove any identifiers, and provide the de-identified data to the study team in order for it to qualify as not human subjects research. There is more information coming up that covers research where the team is accessing the medical records directly. Publicly available data. A lot of data is publicly available. Researchers collect information from news articles in print or online. They collect information from websites that anyone can click on. For instance, there are websites that give lists of sports injuries, who got injured, and what the outcomes were. This can be reviewed as not human subjects research. For publicly available data like this, it does not matter if there are identifiers, because those identifiers are publicly available too. This does not apply to social media though, because someone who posts on Facebook or X or Blue Sky does not usually expect for their posts to be used in research. If the data is publicly available and not from social media, you can submit it as not human subjects research using the HRP 250. Exempt review. If the data is not publicly available and has identifiers that you have access to, but you are not recording any identifiers, or if the data is from social media, the study can be reviewed by the IRB as exempt review category 4. For instance, if you are accessing medical records where you can see personal identifiers, but you are not recording any of these identifiers, only the diagnosis and the outcome, this can be exempt review. Be sure and use the HRP 255 SR form. It is specifically written to be used for secondary research and omits a lot of questions from the HRP 255 exempt review form that do not apply for secondary research. If you answered yes to either of the questions about exempt review in the box on the lower left, the study must be submitted using the HRP 503 protocol form for expedited or full board review. This means if you are recording identifiers, or if you have a code that will allow you to re-identify, or if the data is highly sensitive, then the study cannot be reviewed as exempt and must be reviewed as expedited review or full board review. Here is a little quiz to help you review. What level of review would each of these require? First one, review of medical charts, but without collecting identifiers. Second one, review of medical charts and recording PHI. And third one, review of data from past Tampa Bay Times articles. Here are the answers. Did you get them right? If you are reviewing medical charts but not collecting identifiers, you can submit this as exempt review using the HRP 255 SR form. If you are reviewing medical charts and recording PHI, such as a medical record number or the dates of their hospitalization, then this would fall under expedited review or full board review. Either way, you would use the HRP 503 for your protocol. If you are reviewing past articles from the Tampa Bay Times on sports injuries for members of the Tampa Bay Lightning team, this would be not human subjects research because the data is publicly available. If you need more help, email the IRB at irb@ucf.edu. For complex questions related to study design, ask about IRB office hours to meet with one of the IRB reviewers. If you are a student and need help navigating Huron or completing forms, ask about a meeting with the IRB ambassador. For general questions about accessing Huron city training and faculty advisor requirements, ask about making an appointment with our IRB office assistant.